Welcome back to a Fifth of Jack Gaming, where today we're going to go over the deck that we kind of teased about earlier this week. And if you're liking the deck and everything and you're curious, there's a deep dive that will be coming out later on tonight as well, breaking down the deck even farther. So today's deck is going to be Jodah the Unifier. Does it say this as legendary tribal? Legendary creatures get +X for how many ever legendaries that you have. And whenever you cast a legendary, you can exile cards and play a legendary of a lesser cost, aka Legendary Cascade. So with that said, let's dive in and see what the coolness of Jodah that we have here. So we have a companion. It's our first companion deck that we end up having. It has Jodah the Wellspring. It's a little bit different. It's another little restriction that we have with the deck because Jodah tends to end up being broken. But then we also end up having other things that comes over there. The big thing being that we ended up having characters that's been on the Weatherlight being, or anything that has connections to the Weatherlight, or some kind of lore that deals with Dominaria. So with that said, let's dive in, break down the deck list. So Planeswalkers wise, we have Della the Binder of Wills, Mince and Boo, the Timeless Heroes, and then we're going to go right on over to the Cultivate, Kadama's Reach, Search for Glory, Urza's Ruinous Blast, Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. The last two here are legendary, and we can end up cascading into them. And then we have our instances. Stubborn Denial, Arcane Denial, and Negate are protection spells that we end up making sure that our stuff doesn't get targeted. And then we have Boros Charm, Beast Within, and Harrow to finish out the instances that we have. Artifact-wise, we have a Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Black Bay Reforge, Swiftfoot Boots, Chromatic Lantern, Parader Seal, Relic of the Legends, Heroes Pomerium, Timeless Lotus. And we have one enchantment. That brings us over to the lands, which is Bountiful Promenade, Broker's Hideout, Kabari's Courtyard, Cinderglade, Command Tower, a Flooded Plain, 5 forests, 1 grassland, 2 islands, a Conversion Verge, Maestro's Theater, Molten Tributary, Morphic Pool, 3 mountains, a square storefront, Path of Ancestry, 5 plains, Prairie Stream, Radiant Glow, Rafiq's Tower, Wiverder's Overlook, Rocky Tar Pit, Sunken Howl, Swamp, Tangled Islet, and a Wooded Ridgeland. Alright, so that's the lands and everything. We're going to end up jumping now over to the creatures. This is the bread and butter of the deck right over here. So we got Izamaru, Izzosor, General's Enforcer, Hypnotic Prodigy, Jensen Catharian, the Druid Exile. This is another one that's going to be over, this is going to start the people that's been on the Weatherlight or connections to the Weatherlight. Karizov, Kodila, Lunas, General Ferris. I think it's Leia, the Blade Reforge. This is a creature that can get really out of hand really quick with this deck. Livala, Mint's Beloved Ranger, Murray. It's another character that's been on the Weatherlight, obviously, because it's a Weatherlight duelist. Coin Kyla, Ben Corum, Rocco. Not Rocco's Modern Life now. This is Rocco the chef. Zavala, Shanna, another Weatherlight connection. Sana Sensei, Weatherlight Captain. Vega, Captain Sensei. Gerard, Weatherlight Hero. Hannah and Elena, partners. Jetmir. Nexus of Ravels. Jorah, the Weatherlight Captain. Goes without saying. Kadara. Raf's Captain. Another connection to the entire Weatherlight. Rada Dragok. Stang. And there's a little bit of a connection on Dominera. Not much. He's not. It's kind of like a more footnotes of a character. Tashar. Taskia. Avard. Trelane. Drizzt. Hoffrey. Kenneth, the Return King. Rihanna, the Angel of Rebirth. Shirak, the Dragon Claw. And finally, but not least, Ramos, the Dragon Engine. Because everyone's got to have a Dragon Engine. I mean, Shieldred even took one. Mishra had one. Everyone's got to have some kind of connection to it. Alright, so that's the quick deck tech of this deck. This deck is going to be 101 cards because we have the companion that's over here that makes a nice restriction to it that made it a little bit more easier. It's trying to not be super broken, but whatever way that I kind of configured this deck, it ended up being broken. But at least this has some nice flavor that's going to go with it. And that's also going to be played tonight's deck. And that's why the deep dive is going to be happening while we'll end up playing. So, if you're interested in the deck, you can go over, check out the deep dive, and we'll break down the deck even more. What do you think of the deck? And if you got to change anything, what would you change with it? And also, what's the best restriction that you've used for building your deck? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, if you're liking the content that we're putting out, like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon to be notified about any of our future content. And until next time, we'll see you later.